Welcome to UND Sports Extra. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. Happy New Year. Tonight we kick off the second half of the season here on UND Sports Extra. The North Dakota men's and women's basketball teams have opened conference play. And coming up in the next half hour, we'll visit with women's coach Travis Brewster and men's coach Brian Jones as each of their respective teams played 2 games this past weekend. We'll also look back at the first half of the season and some of the more memorable plays you've seen here on Midco Sports Network and at your favorite UND athletic events. Our leadoff man is women's basketball coach Travis Brewster. His team opened Big Sky play this past weekend by sweeping Montana State and Montana to start 2-0 in the conference. Coach, welcome back. Happy New Year to you, and good start to the conference season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
2 tight basketball games over the weekend for a majority of the time. You did end up pulling away from Montana State, but for many of the minutes, Thursday and Saturday, it was pretty tight basketball.
Yeah, it's one of those games that, you can't be surprised it's Big Sky play. You know, and that's the way it's going to be, and you just got to battle each way and figure out a way to win.
In Montana State, we'll take a look at the highlights a little bit, but in Montana State, you beat a team who had beaten you in the Betty last year, and in Montana, it was the resumption of a school and a team that's become a pretty good rivalry for you.
Yeah, when you play Montana State, the big thing about them is they're coming to play. They're well coached. We had to get over the hump with them. That was the big one for us. And then you play Montana, turn around, and they're perennial power in our conference. And that's the way it goes. As
you take a look at the sum of the 2 games, what were the items that you were most impressed with your team? What are some of the emphasis points in practice this week coming off those games?
Well, I thought the big one for us was the resolve. Not to be able to get too flustered when the game wasn't going our way, be able to withstand their runs. We had some scoring droughts, obviously, but at the same time, I thought that we played it on the defensive end. I thought that was key for us. Now, granted, they put the ball in the hole, but we were battling, and that's part of the game. It's just battling.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at highlights as North Dakota defeats Montana State and Montana to open Big Sky Conference play.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. We're visiting with women's basketball coach Travis Brewster. Coach, let's take a look at the highlights from last week, and let's start with the most recent game, the game with Montana on Saturday. This was a game that you got to the paint a lot in the first half.
Well, yeah, we talked about it in our game planning a little bit. We thought we'd get to the rim, and I thought our players did a heck of a job. Leah Zabla there, she's been just tremendous this season, getting in there and creating the mismatches and getting to the rim.
What kind of game were you hoping against Montana? What did you want to try to force upon them in this game?
Well, for Christmas, I wanted just a blowout. But, it's just one of those games that you want to be able to put yourself in position to have success. They're a good ball club, and you got to be able to keep yourself on top.
Did you like the way you were attacking the basket here to begin the game?
Yeah, I thought we did a really good job of understanding attack that open post and make sure that if somebody slid over, kick it over to the other post player so they get the easy score. That was a great drive by Michaela right there.
You went about 7 minutes without a field goal in the first half, yet you were able to build your lead late in the first half.
Yeah, and that's how they were playing us a little bit, and the other part was we just had to get ourselves going a little bit. I thought Bailey Strand comes in there, gets a nice little backdoor. And here you got Megan Lauk knocking down a jump shot on the baseline. Once again, we've done a pretty good job moving the ball to the open person.
34-25 at the half. Second half now, you're going to build your lead. Leah Zabla is going to score in transition here, and you get this thing up to a 15-point lead at one point.
Well, yeah, and you got Emily running down a long rebound, and Leah knocks down a 15-footer. Once again, we're moving the ball to the open person and getting our shots.
And then Siri Burke, who finished just with 1 field goal on the day, hits a 3-pointer, 42-27. You're thinking right now you're in pretty good shape, right?
Yeah, but it's still not a comfortable lead with that team. It's just the way it is. They're not going to quit. There's a lot of similarities in our players where they're both going to just keep battling. And you can see right there they made some adjustments, cranked up the pressure on us a little bit, and they capitalized on our turnovers.
That's right. You opened the door for them with 5 early turnovers in the second half.
Yeah, we're just being hospitable. That was the big thing.
Is that right?
But I thought we adjusted.
Going for Coach of the Year, huh?
Yeah, I thought we adjusted well at the timeout there and talked a little bit more about, hey, we got to be a little more careful with the basketball. But credit them, they attacked us and they got to the rim.
Yep. Kelly Rubel brought Montana back, but then you get some key field goals in several tight stretches of the game late here.
Well, like there again, Leah she's got a knack to get in the rim. She gets the ball to Emily for a nice putback score. Again, here she is getting herself around the corner. She's getting really crafty down there. A lot of people forget she's a sophomore, and here she is playing like she's been, started for three to 4 years in our program.
Yeah, that was a big basket. That gave you the lead back at 51-50. And then Maya Lloyd's going to pad the lead here, and you're up 53-50 with just under 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, we went to one of our post-series plays, and Siri made the right read and got the ball to her. And Maya, she's tremendous when she gets the ball down low down. Either she's going to get fouled or get a score.
Free throw shooting, mighty good for you. This was the difference. You made 6 consecutive free throws in the final 23 seconds.
Yeah, big difference from the start of the year. You can credit our players for getting in the gym and working on that. Leah Zaba knocked some key ones down through the stretch.
59-52 the final. Lloyd had 13, another double-double. She's on an amazing streak here of consecutive double-doubles. Zabla in double figures. And before we get to the Montana State game, a couple thoughts here on Montana. The field goal droughts that you were in that game. More about what Montana was doing defensively or what maybe you were doing lack of execution-wise in the offensive end?
I would say it's a combination of both. The big part is our lack of execution at the right time. They cranked it up. That's when you have to be more precise. You have to do the little things a little bit better, setting up cuts, making sure that you're making a tight pass instead of a floating type of pass. Mm-hmm. And the other part about it, plain and simple, is we got to be able to withstand our own mistakes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Montana State kicked off your week.
Yeah.
New Year's night at the Betty. This is a team that had beaten you in the Betty a year ago, and you had 4 players who really figured key into your win. Michaela Dyer, and one thing this young woman does is many times she creates her own offense in a positive way.
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about with Michaela is she has an knack to score. She can hit the outside shot. She can drive. She does a good job of passing the ball, and that's something we want her to do, and the thing is we want her to be able to play both ends of the floor, and just like that great block right there, that was something we challenged her to do.
She getting better on both ends of the floor?
She is.
Emily Evers in this game. Again, one thing she does is she finishes well at the basket, and she did here. And this was the game in which she took a step forward coming back from injury. She played 21 minutes in the game, which was the most since her lower body injury against Minnesota.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is Emily's got great hands. For being 6'5", you put it out there, she can catch most passes. Yep. The thing is we got to start getting her the ball where she doesn't have to make a miraculous catch every time. But Emily's getting used to that. That's part of her game is making the tough plays.
Yeah. Maya Lloyd, there's no doubt about it. It's her glass, isn't it?
Yeah, she's definitely a Windex person. She's cleaning it up down there, and she plays at both ends of the floor when she's attacking the boards. And for somebody like Maya who's so explosive, the other part about Maya is she's very physical. Yeah. And that's she's very strong and she's worked hard at that.
Second chance points, a big win for you in this game, thanks in part to Maya Lloyd.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to to contribute, and if they're taking certain things away from you, you got to go ahead and make sure that you score. That's a great pass by Siri Burrick, and Maya makes the finish down there.
Megan Lauk with a tremendous game, led you in scoring her second career double-double. My goodness, she was good from the field. 8 of 13 and 5 of 10 from behind the three-point line.
Well, that's something that we knew in the recruiting process with Megan that she'd be able to do that. But, she's coming back from that injury. She's starting to get her groove a little bit. The big test now is can she play back-to-back games like that, because it takes a little bit more strength, and that's going to be a true test. But she's got a knack to score. I kind of call her the Scottie Pippen of our team.
There you go.
She's got a knack to knock it down.
What have you seen in that game-to-game consistency from her to this point?
I thought she's done a nice job being able to score the basketball. I thought Montana did a good job of trying to take her out of her game a little bit. They crowded her a little bit more. Now she's got to be able to attack the rim. But, when you're 6'1", you can get rebounds and you can knock down open shots. That's a tough matchup.
82-74, the win over Montana State. And again, you get some payback there because if you go back to the beginning of last season, you only have 2 home losses. One was to Montana State a year ago, and then a loss to Minnesota just a couple of months ago. So you turn the page now, your first road trip of the conference season. You like what your team has done on the road to this point of the season, correct?
Well, I think we've done very well on the road, and we've practiced how to have success. Now here's the key is to carry it over as we play in conference play. Sacramento State's not an easy place to play, nor is Portland. Yeah. So, it's going to be a challenge. It's a little bit longer of a trip. I think that's going to be part of it, but we got to bounce back and take care of business.
Sacramento State a year ago made some waves within the Big Sky because of their style of play. They, in some purposes, abandoned defense and would let you score in the offensive end for them shooting three-pointers. Have they toned that style down a little bit this year?
Just a little. They're a little bit more of a man-to-man team. Before they trap the whole game. Now they go with a little bit more man-to-man concept when they're not trapping. So that it's still a very aggressive style of play. They still want you to shoot it quick so they can come down and shoot a three, but it's just a little bit different how we saw it last year.
So what are your emphasis points, regardless if you're looking at Sacramento State or Portland State this weekend as you go on this 2-game road trip?
Well, there's an opportunity that's been presented to us, and we've earned part of it. Now we have to earn the rest of it. And so therefore we need to take care of the basketball on the road. We need to make smart decisions with the ball, and then we got to turn around and knock down shots.
Yeah. All right, Brew. Good to be back with you again. Good luck
it.
on the road this weekend, and we'll recap your road trip next week here on UND Sports Extra. Coming up next, men's basketball coach Brian Jones to recap his team's swing through the state of Montana.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. Our next guest is men's basketball coach Brian Jones. His team split its first 2 league games a week ago, defeating Montana State, falling to Montana. Coach, good to be back with you again. Before we talk about the week that was and preview the week that's ahead, let's talk about your team a little bit, because since we were last with you prior to the holiday break, the makeup of your team has changed a bit. Carson Shanks has become eligible and available, gives you another post player. Ryan Salmonson is back healthy playing again. Cole Steffen has left the program. So kind of reset the button here for us personnel-wise for you.
Well, obviously Carson getting eligible after his year of transferring. Ryan has been banged up all season long, and honestly, it's been different things. So he's played well this last weekend. And Cole, his is more was an academic situation. Obviously we wish him the best, and he was a big part of what we've done in the past. But, we've had some changes. And our hope is now that we can have a solidified roster or a solidified rotation, we're going to see some growth here in league play when we need it the most.
How about the opportunities that are for people like Lenny Antwi and Dustin Holbaugh with Steffen's departure and a couple guys that can be a perimeter threat for you?
Well, Lenny, obviously being a senior, has worked extremely hard throughout his career. I'm so pleased with his play and just how he's performed. And yes, he's going to have more opportunities there. We need to get Josiah Coleman some more opportunities as well. But Dustin, same equation as Lenny. Works hard every day, brings his lunch pail and hard hat every day to practice. So his play has obviously been rewarded by all that hard work.
You're basically starting 3 guards.
We are almost 3 point guards at that. And obviously sometimes that leads into our rebounding situations, but it helps us on another factor of valuing the basketball, shooting the basketball, being able to get our feet to the paint. Just a different lineup. But 3 guards is kind of what we've had a lot of success for. I'm big on sticking to what's been good for us in our move since Division I. Obviously you still have to every year have to evaluate your talent and personnel, but I like the rotation we got in it right now, really, with the 4 guards. They've been really strong for us. Now we just need to see a little bit more consistency from the bigs, which I think we saw this past weekend in Big Sky play. We've got a nice punch, but our bench has been outstanding. And I think that'll be key, too, as we go through this league, if our bench can consistently give us the pop that they've given us.
When you're playing 3 guards, and, of course, all 3 could be point guards, do you still like to have those individual players have that point guard mentality?
I do. Here's what I do like about it, because they can see plays develop, but where they have to grow is there's times when they all want to bring the ball up. We got to train them and say, all right, Quentin is our point guard right now on made baskets. You guys need to run the floor so we can pitch it ahead to you so you can play make at that end of the floor.
You opened your conference play with a win at Bozeman last Thursday night, 67-60. You mentioned your bench. Your bench was a big-time winning factor in this basketball game. Carson Shanks, 12 points. Lenny Antwi, 10 off the bench. Dustin Holbaugh, 9 points. That was a difference in this game.
It was. Our bench won us that game. We were saddled by foul trouble with Terrell and Jerron Nash, and but again, getting Carson his second game, obviously his first game at Marquette, that's tough to, just to dive into that situation. But he responded extremely well. We're going to need, because he gives you an inside-outside punch with his skill set. And Lenny's been solid against Montana. He gave us double digits too, so he's been really solid. But Dustin Holbaugh is really, he's kind of our a lot like Josh Shula last year. He's a glue piece. He brings it all together. Not a lot of notoriety behind it, but he does so many little things well for you.
And then Montana on Saturday afternoon. In this game, you got down by 11 in the first half, but you really did a nice job of coming back strongly at the end of the half here.
Well, we did. It was from our defense. We got stops. We showed film to our guys. Just when you're doing these things defensively, you're really, really good. And we were unselfish on offense. But again, in these highlights, that was the tail of the game right there. They're strong D, but their post presence, they had two bigs. That's where we had some issues in the second half, and our bigs got to do a better job of not allowing them to catch it so deep.
You got within one late in the first half, and then at the end of the half, Montana goes on a 5-0 run. Kind of two runs here in the game that kind of somewhat dictated the outcome. The 5-0 run at the end of the first half, and then an 8-0 run by Montana to begin the second half.
And it was. That right there, that last play of the half, Terrell just fell asleep and relaxed, thinking they were going to run some more clock, and they didn't. But in the second half, you're right, Gregory hit two back-to-back threes where we weren't ready to compete on the defensive end. We were relaxed. We were not in a stance. So that was a difference, no question.
Here's Lenny Antwi, as you said. He's getting more minutes. He's responding. He's one of your deep three-point threats. And then, as you said, the 1-2 punch that Montana had inside was a difficult matchup for you, especially Martin Brining, who had a big game here. I think 23 points is what he ended up with.
He's a Washington transfer. He's a different type of athlete in this league. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he can handle the ball. He's a foreign young man, but he's extremely talented. But, yeah, I mean, it's good for our league. And I think what you're seeing in some of these highlights by both teams, a lot of great ball movement. And
right.
Just for young people learning this game, when you can share the ball and move the ball and make the extra one, you're going to get these type of shots, what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, we saw one set here where you reversed the ball a couple times
Lenny
with a
shot,
wide open look from Antwi.
But right here, that's not very good defense right there at all. We showed that, yes. That's, again, anticipating. We talked about in scouting report knowing your personnel, what their strengths are. That's where our young bigs can grow from that, understanding what their go-to moves and try to take those things away.
You have 2 home games this week. My goodness, a
We're
rarity
home.
for you.
No.
You're at home for back-to-back
Kind of uncomfortable.
Sacramento State on Thursday night, then Portland State. Sacramento State, good basketball team. When you talk about Sacramento State, you talk about Mike McKinney and Garrity, 2 very high-scoring guards.
Best 2 guards, I think the best 1-2 guard punch in our league. So we got our work cut out. We're going to have to defend at a high level.
All right, good luck this weekend, Brian. We'll recap those games next week, and you'll be able to see Saturday's game with Portland State live right here on Midco Sports Network beginning at 2 p.m. We're back next year on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
We've seen some tremendous individual performances over the past 5 months. Here's a look at some of the more memorable plays over the first half of the athletic season.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Coming up this weekend on Midco Sports Network, live coverage of North Dakota's return to NCHC hockey. UND in Duluth Friday at 7:30. Saturday afternoon, Big Sky men's basketball, North Dakota and Portland State. That's at 2 o'clock Saturday. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for North Dakota hockey with Dave Haxton.